Swimming faster comes down to two things: decreasing drag and increasing propulsion. But there's something else that you need to know if you want to swim faster using less energy. And this is something that I've personally used to swim best times 10 years after college. And it's how we helped Nick drop over a minute in the 100 freestyle and go sub 30 in the 50 freestyle. First, I want to show you all the mistakes that I see swimmers make time and time again. The first one has to do with body position. You've heard me say it over and over, but the water is 800 times more dense than air. So if you have a fundamentally flawed body position, you're going to swim slower. Now, in a prior Whiteboard Wednesday video, I broke down the drag coefficients of different shapes as they move through the water. We'll make sure that's linked over here. But if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it because it really stresses the importance of making your body as streamlined as possible. And that's how you swim fast. So if you can't do any of these corrective measurements first, then everything else I say in the video is not really going to make any sense. So firstly, you got to lock in your body position, keep your eyes down, and that's how you swim fast. The second big mistake I see is with the catch. If you're not pulling the water efficiently, meaning you're driving your fingertips to the bottom, engaging the most surface area as possible, then you're not really optimizing your pull. So number one, you need to make sure your body position is on point. Remember, water is very dense. Number two, you got to make sure you're pulling the water efficiently and you have a really good distance per stroke. That way you can leverage more of the surface area of your hand, and not just your hand, actually your entire arm and your body as you move through the water. The third mistake I always see is around the kick. Either you're kicking too much, it's too sloppy, the amplitude is too big. Remember, because the water is dense, we want to have a really efficient, compact kick. Now, a big mistake I see a lot of swimmers make is that they're actually overdoing it. Remember, it's not your arms are doing one thing and your legs are doing another. They're connected to each other, all the way from your fingertips on one end through diagonally your body rotationally to the toes on the opposite end of your body. And so when you think about it from this perspective, it's really rotational power that's coming not just from your legs kicking, but from your entire body, your torso, your hips, all the way through your shoulders and your arms. All these things need to be connected. It's another reason why dry land is so important, because if you have the right strength foundations, that's how you're going to swim fast. So a big mistake is around kicking. And then finally, breathing. If you're not breathing correctly, you're really just hurting everything. First of all, breathing is vital if you want to be able to swim consistently over a long period of time. You need to have your breathing technique dialed in, and you also need to make sure you're training it effectively. I know a lot of people, and myself included, will always say it's okay to preference one side versus the other. I personally always breathe on my left side, but I still know how to breathe on my right side. And so if you feel like you have more of a bias on one side, that's okay, as long as you're regularly incorporating breathing on the other side, whether it's for specific sets, you're using a snorkel. That way you can really focus on your body position, because you don't want to build up too much of a discrepancy on one side versus the other. And oh, by the way, everything I just mentioned applies to all of the strokes. So don't think that this is just for freestyle. All of these principles and common mistakes just come in different flavors in the other strokes. For example, in breaststroke, a big mistake people make in the kick is that the kick is just too wide. You have to have a narrow kick, really good ankle flexibility and hip flexibility, and that's how you have an efficient kick. Now, it's really important to remind ourselves what I mentioned in the beginning of the video: Swimming Faster 101. By the way, I have a book about 101 ways to swim faster, and these are the two topics I start the book with. You want to decrease drag and increase propulsion. But even if you master these, you're still going to hit a plateau with your swimming speed, and this is why I developed the SwimEfficiency Blueprint. The SwimEfficiency Blueprint is a scientifically designed training program that provides varied and progressive workouts to help swimmers just like you break through the plateaus and improve their speed and technique. Now, it incorporates regular technique analysis with specific drills, interval training, and test sets to ensure that you are continuously improving and seeing progress. The SwimEfficiency Blueprint is proven to help you swim faster and smarter than ever before. So let's look at the SwimEfficiency Blueprint key performance indicators. If you're in the business world, you'll know what this means. Basically, these are the benchmarks, and these benchmarks will allow us to see where you are today, where you want to go, and how you can actually improve. Now, I have a few different benchmarks listed, and I'm going to use Nick as an example. Nick has made incredible progress in his swimming in a very short period of time working with us. For example, one of the test sets is a 100-meter need for speed. So how fast can you go in the 100 freestyle? For him, we're going to use his yards times, but the same principle applies. Nick started at a 2-minute in the 100 freestyle. Now, it's important to measure not just how long it takes you to swim 100 freestyle, but how many strokes did you take? What were the splits? And what was the interval in the next set? I'll give you that example. So in Nick's case, he swam 100 freestyle in 2 minutes, and he took 30 strokes per length. It's a lot of strokes. It's not the most efficient stroke. And so when you think about, well, what was his SWALF, right? If you're not familiar, SWALF is your swimming efficiency. It's a combination of how many strokes you take and how long it takes you to swim 25 meters. So if he's swimming 30 seconds per 25 and he takes 30 strokes, that means his SWALF is equal to 60, right? That's his SWALF. Now, this is not the most efficient stroke, stroke. If this is where you are today, that's okay. You can get better. So fast forward to earlier this year, and he was able to go a 111 in the 100 freestyle. So he basically dropped a minute in a relatively short period of time. And he was able to do that taking 20 strokes per length, plus he took 17 seconds roughly per 25. So that's a swalf of 37. As you can see, that is a significant drop to go from 60 to 37. And it's a combination of things that we're going to talk about with the 30-day Swim Faster protocol and how that implements in. Now, another benchmark is 5 100s in the endurance challenge. This is a threshold aerobic type of set to really measure how long you can swim consistently over a period of time, right? 100 is just a benchmark for speed, but 5 100s on an interval, now that's the fun part. So when Nick started, when he was a 2-minute, he couldn't even swim 5 100s on the 230. This was like a DNF, did not finish, right? And that's the worst. He couldn't do on the 230. Maybe he could make the first one, but then he would fall off very quick. And by the time he was going this 111, he had worked his way down to doing 5 on the 2-minute, where he was holding 150 or under on every single 100. So he was holding almost a minute faster than what he was able to hold before. So it's not just swimming fast, but it's doing so over a long period of time. And then the last set that I'll talk about is 450's best average. And this is on an interval. This is where the interval starts to matter actually a lot. Because if you do 450s with, 10 seconds rest versus 450s with a minute rest, hopefully you can swim a lot faster when you get more rest. So this set right here is another benchmark that you can use to assess your progress over time. So when we think about, well, how does the Swim Efficiency Blueprint help me? How does it help you? Well, you need to think about your own numbers in each of these and where you think you can go. And we help athletes all the time identify where they are now, where they want to go, and then we build the path to help them get there. The blueprint is just like the operating system of a computer or your phone. Now we need to build the programming on top of it so that way you can actually swim faster. And that's why I developed the 30-day Swim Faster protocol. Now this assumes you swim every single day. So this would actually take you a lot longer. Let's say you swim 3 times per week. Well, in that case, this would take you, 30 divided by 10, this would take you 10 weeks to complete. If you swim 5 times per week, it'll take you 6 weeks to complete. You get the idea. So in this protocol, there are 3 foundational components. You have progressive workouts. This is probably the most common sense part. It's, workouts that build upon each other that really emphasize these 3 things. Specifically, the first one, obviously, because that's the thing that we're trying to benchmark. We want to swim faster in 100 meters or 50 meters, whatever it may be. And then we also want to make sure that we're keeping in check our swalf, the number of strokes we take, split time, and what the intervals are. And all of this is incorporated into the plan. Next, we need to do technical analysis, because the first phase of this is to actually look at what does your stroke look like when you swim that 100 meters. Because if you don't know what your technique is, where the inefficiencies are, then it's not really going to work because you don't really know what to focus on. And so that's the second major component. And then doing that over time. So it's not just one technical analysis. You've got to look at yourself multiple times as you go through this process. And that's how you tie in the operating system with the programming. And it's 1 + 1 = 3. And then the last part here is resistance training. Because so what if you have perfect technique? So what if you swim super, super smooth? I mean, you could have Michael Jackson moonwalk smooth freestyle, but you might not be that fast because there's something else missing. Maybe the power per stroke isn't really there. And that's why resistance training is so important. Whether you do the dry land training out of the water and or the in-water resistance training, which really helps with generating power, but also creating assisted speed so that you can swim above your maximum pace. An easy example of that would be swimming with fins. So if you swim with fins, you are swimming theoretically above your max potential if you're going fast. And so what that's doing is it's training your body how to swim faster. And so, not any one of these is actually more important than the other. Now, if you're interested in learning how we can implement this 30-day Swim Faster protocol into your own training and work with our team and myself to help you swim faster and smarter than ever before, click on the link down below so we can help you reach your goals. Stop wasting your time in the pool doing the same thing over and over again. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. So if you're not insane, click on the link below so we can help you, and let's go.